Boom. We'll start it off with the beer I got ready to have with dinner. I've reviewed this before on my Instagram page. It is called Freedom Machine. The big, beautiful eagle on that can. It's by Service down in Savannah. It's volume 4. It is 6.7 alcohol by volume, a juicy IPA. A little message on the side: Yakima Chief hops, 4th annual Veterans Blend, HBC 472, HBC 630, Equinaut Idaho 7, and Azaka hops. Yummy, yummy. Benefiting canines for warriors. Yeah. Clock tower glass. Hard pour it as always. We'll let that settle down. And I'll show you what I made for dinner. So I found last week, I guess I should say, week, whatever. All blends together. I found this buy one, get one deal for these little pork loin things. Well, I shouldn't say little, they're not very little. So, very easy, they're already nicely marinated. And of course I made myself a little baked potato and some asparagus. Sauteed asparagus. So, that's what I'm sipping on. That's what I'm about to be munching on. Let's talk some football, shall we? And first off, well, let me just say what I had available to me to watch today. Had a great 1 o'clock offering. Bills, Ravens, two teams getting a lot of buzz in the AFC. That season's really good. Two teams getting a lot of buzz in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. So it was a great matchup to start off the day with. It was my only 1 o'clock matchup on television. Unfortunately, for some reason did not get the London game that was at 9:30 because not only did my Spectrum bill go up, I guess it's been a year, so I guess it's that time of the year, time of the contract for them to start throttling me. They bumped it up $25 and they took NFL Network away, so I didn't even get to watch that early game in London. Right. So before I start running down the games today, pardon my tangent, I just want to light up my Indianapolis Colts. What in the actual fudge is going on with this team? We had a defense that was ready to go, experienced, talented beyond belief. Our receiving core is a little deep. Not a little deep, I'm sorry, a little shallow, which I know as a Colts fan or just anyone that has watched the Colts at any point over the last 20 years, Colts with no wide receivers, that's hardly unbelievable. I've been screaming at the draft every year for them to draft a wide receiver. They continue to not do that, and now they have no targets. They just have Pittman, who's great, but he gets hurt, and now Matt Ryan has nobody to throw to. And of course, Darius Leonard has been on the sideline too. So our best defenders can't even help us either. And this team, even so, step up. Ballard has been just drafting off the chain. Just been drafting all sorts of backups. Depth. You'd think some of those players would be able to fill in, get the backfill going, and make those losses to the lineup less painful, so to speak, but they're not. So I don't know what is going on with this team. I don't know why they are so bad. We weren't asking Matt Ryan all that much. You didn't have much to, you didn't have to be the Matt Ryan that was taking teams to Super Bowls and deep playoff runs. You didn't have to be that Matt Ryan. You didn't have to be MVP Matt Ryan. Nothing. All you had to do was hand the ball to Taylor, best running back in the league. Of course, he gets hurt at some point today, so who knows if if they just pulled him because we're horrible and getting scraped. What's the point in risking further injury, or if he's actually hurt, he's going to miss some significant time. But regardless, you go into the season with the best running back in the league, a stout defense, experienced defense, not a ton of weapons, but enough. I mean, all you got to do is hit the checkdowns, give the ball to Taylor. What's the problem? I mean, I would have thought. I mean, our old quarterback, of course, Peyton Manning. We watched him win a Super Bowl, take a team to the Super Bowl, and win with just a roster just full of hurt guys and young guys and a couple veterans, and like and Peyton Manning was practically had to wheel him out on a wheelchair to get on the field. Why can't Matt Ryan figure this out? Whatever. I digress. In any event, we did make this game today a little bit closer. The final score was only 24-17, but it never really felt close throughout. Let's look at the line score. They were up. Tennessee was up 24-10 after the half, and I mean that was pretty much it. Everybody just went on cruise control at that point. I mean, stats wise, look at the leaders. Matt Ryan actually put up a lot of yards. I'm over here raking him over the coals, but I mean he kind of put up a lot of yards because he had to. I mean, and you're playing from behind and didn't have a choice. So 350 yards and 2 touchdowns, but I mean they're 2 basically garbage time touchdowns. Or I mean, one not really. One was in the first half, but it didn't really matter because by the time you scored, you're already up. At least look at the you're already down 14 to. No, I'm sorry. You were down 24-3 by the time you scored that touchdown. So it may as well have been garbage time. Garbage time in the first half. That's a great winning formula, right? Now somehow, under God's graces, I don't know how, but we're still kind of in contention because the AFC is absolutely abysmal right now. And we're only a half game because of that stupid tie against the Texans. We're only a half game out of first place. So go figure that out. Now we should be 0-3 in the division. We have 2 division losses plus that tie. So. I mean, I don't think anything's going to happen, but that being said, it's technically still possible. I'm not expecting it because they look abysmal, but whatever. Anyway, start off with that London game. And you ever notice when you have the London games, guys always seem to not perform, whether it's the travel, whether it's the time difference, whatever it may be. Those London games always seem to screw with the players' rhythm, whatever the case may be. Let's take a sip of this beer. It's got some light orange kind of effervescent aroma notes. Maybe even mango. Very tropical. Yeah, goes real well with the barbecue glaze on this pork loin, by the way. Super soft, juicy, no bitterness. Excellent. I've had Freedom Machine before. I don't remember if it was Volume 4. I'm sure it wasn't because it was last year, but regardless. Very good line they do down in service, the Freedom Machine line. I'm trying to tip this down so you can see my beer and plate a little bit more. Pardon me, it's not an earthquake, I swear. Well, maybe that didn't work. Okay, we're not going to do that then. Alright, so, again, back to the games. You had this London game early in the morning. And like I said, a lot of times you get to these games overseas and you expect them to be, guys to be out of sync, not on their game, and it winds up being a pretty ugly game. But this game was fairly well-balanced scoring. I mean, the total 53 points overall by the final score. Vikings got out early. Saints tied it. 2 field goals by the Vikings. They're up 13-7 after half. And Vikings get a field goal in the third. Saints get a touchdown. Vikings are only up 2 entering the fourth quarter. They get another field goal. They're up by 5. Taysom Hill, 2-yard short yard run and a 2-yard conversion from Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, to Jarvis Landry, puts the Saints out by 3. Justin Jefferson, who had a huge receiving game, scores a rushing touchdown. They missed the extra point, so 25-22. Vikings up 3. Tie game. Will Lutz drills it from 60-yard field goal in London to tie the game at 25, and then that's under 2 minutes to go, and then under 30 seconds to go, 47-yard game winner by Joseph. Joseph missed an extra point, and they hit the 47-yard to win the game. Sure. So, rather rather high-scoring game from two teams. I mean, the Vikings are what, 3-1 now? Where did that come from? After that, the Falcons. I'm wearing a Falcons hat, but no, that's not necessarily because I'm going full free agent yet, or because I'm abandoning the Colts. But at the same time, I'm in the South now. I should probably pick a Southern team to root for. And the Panthers, we'll get to them in a minute. They're still playing right now, but Panthers haven't been as consistent in the early going. But anyway, the Browns. That's who the Falcons play today. The Falcons got to 2-2 today against the Browns. They're on 2 games in a row. I believe that's a 2-game winning streak. I'll double check. Two-game winning streak. Yes, that is correct. Beat the Browns. It was a pretty close game. It was tied at 20 at halftime. And it looks like it was tied at 10 up until the final. Okay, so the game-winning field goal was with under 3 minutes to go. So there still was plenty of time left. But this was a fairly evenly matched game. Marcus Mariota didn't do a whole lot. Not a great day. A lot of rushing statistics. I know Patterson scored a touchdown. Algier had 84 yards. Chubb had a huge game, of course, because it's Nick Chubb. When does Nick Chubb not have a huge game at this point this year? But yeah, back and forth, 10-10, 20-20. Falcons are actually down with under 10 minutes to go in the game, in the fourth, after Nick Chubb's touchdown. And Koo got a short yarder with 7 minutes and change to tie the game at 20, and then a 45-yard go-ahead score with 2.5 minutes left. Falcons hold on to win, and they're 2-2. Next game, not very competitive at all, nor should anyone have expected it to be. Dallas, who has been remarkable since Dak's injury, absolutely wiped the floor with Washington. Washington's now, I believe, lost 3 games in a row. I think they beat the Jaguars week 1, and they now dropped 3 games in a row. This game wasn't necessarily close. They started out up 6-0. Washington scored. Dallas answered back, tacked on a field goal in the third, 15-7. Washington gets another field goal, and then Dallas just runs away within the fourth quarter. Just after the fourth started, CeeDee Lamb gets a decently long touchdown pass, puts them up 22-10, and then they get a field goal to seal it. So not too much surprise there, but props, hats off, tip your cap, whatever to the Cowboys. They've been remarkable since Dak Prescott's injury, and we were all talking junk because that's it. No more we dem boys chance, Next game didn't so much. Again, the only game I got was Bills Ravens, so I just kind of had to watch this on the ticker line and in-game updates. But how many points were in this? Damn close to 100. 93 points in this Seattle. That's right, Wayne. How about them Falcons is right. You were ready to give up on them after week 1. Sorry, Wayne distracted me and dribbled a little bit. Now the Lions did have a bit of a comeback in the fourth quarter. They outscored Seattle 22-10, but fortunately for Seattle, Detroit cannot stop a nosebleed. Victory from the Jaws. Yes, they did. Fortunately for Seattle, Detroit cannot stop a nosebleed. And this game got a little bit crazy. Let's just look at the stats of this, because this is probably crazy. I mean, Geno Smith, nobody thought anything about Geno Smith going into the season. He had over 300 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. I know he had a rushing touchdown. Jared Goff almost had 400 yards, 4 scores. Rashad Penny had 150 yards, couple scores. Williams for Detroit had over 100 yards, couple scores. DK Metcalf, 150 yards. Sorry, I missed that last comment. DK Metcalf had 150 yards. Hawkinson, the tight end from Detroit, had almost 180 yards, couple touchdowns. So just stats aplenty if you play fantasy football and you're anybody on Seattle or Detroit, which is kind of weird to think. Who the heck would have anybody on Seattle or Detroit? They do have a lot of talent, though. If you had anybody on your fantasy team for either of those teams, you definitely got big time payout. And Detroit falls to 1-3, and that was a team that had a lot of energy, young team, coaches are full of piss and vinegar, and they had a lot of media buzz from being on Hard Knocks in the off season. And they are now 1-3 because, like I said, they just cannot stop a nosebleed, and that was supposed to be one of Detroit's strengths going into the season, was their defense. And certainly doesn't look like now. Oddly enough, their strength looks like Jared Goff. Who'd have thought that coming? I won't go any more into the Colts game because I've already ripped them a new one. How about the Giants? I would have never guessed the Giants should be 3-1. Somehow, the resurgence. Saquon Barkley had almost 150 yards rushing today. Daniel Jones not a lot, but Daniel Jones didn't need to do a lot. Saquon Barkley 150 yards. Justin Fields has been struggling mightily this year. Not exactly super surprised. A lot of field goals in this game. Daniel Jones did get a rushing touchdown in the first half, second quarter. But other than that, I'm sorry, Daniel Jones had 2 rushing touchdowns. So he didn't do a whole lot with his arm, but he did a whole lot with his legs. And that was enough. Throwing some field goals, and that was enough. The Giants are 3-1. And that's kind of like... And if it wasn't for the Philadelphia Eagles being so incredible, Jalen Hurts just being unstoppable this year, the Giants and the Cowboys, the Giants coming off an abysmal, I should say abysmal season, abysmal last several seasons, and the Cowboys, without their quarterback, would be fighting for first place right now. But, of course, the Eagles are undefeated and playing incredible. And that is the next game we're going to go over. Now, they're playing another upstart, Jacksonville. Jacksonville came in this game. Who'd have thought Jacksonville would be 2-1 going to week 4? Now they dropped to 2-2, which works out for us because we're somehow still in the contention for the division despite having all losses in our divisional games and the 1 tie. Woohoo, tie. But Philadelphia was pretty much, Jacksonville got out to a fast lead. Pick 6. Long pick 6. So after just saying up Jalen Hurts' performance this year, his first play of this game was throwing an interception for a touchdown. And then Trevor Lawrence gets a short yard touchdown pass. They go up 14-0. Philly charges right back. Jalen Hurts, short yardage run. Miles Sanders, short yard red zone run. And then Gainwell, with less than 30 seconds to go in the half, puts the Eagles up 20-14. Missed the PAT. Puts the Eagles up 20-14 going in the half. So I have an abysmal start to this game. And they still wind up on top at halftime. Third quarter was a lot of nothing. Fourth quarter was a little back and forth. Eagles did charge out field goal. And Miles Sanders' second score. 2-point conversion was failed. So they're up by 15 now. The Jags did charge back with 7 minutes and change. Agnew's second touchdown pass from Trevor Lawrence brings them within 8, 21-29, but they cannot complete the comeback. Or is it a comeback if you start out 14-0? I don't think so. Hurts did not have a great game. However, I think he's also a dual threat quarterback, so I feel like he had a decent amount. 38 rushing yards and touchdowns, so that's pretty decent. But other than that, not a great game. So it's a little ugly stats-wise. A.J. Brown had 90 yards. Goddard had over 70 yards receiving. But again, Eagles are 4-0. So clap it up. How many years recently did we just talk all sorts of shit about the NFC East? The NFC least. That sort of thing. And here they are. They got the only undefeated team left in the NFL. In the Philadelphia Eagles, with a lot of question marks. If you went into the season and told people who would you want, Jalen Hurts or Justin Fields, I think that would be pretty even. And there was so much hype on Justin Fields. There would probably be more people taking Justin Fields. Right now, I think I'd take Jacoby Brissett as my quarterback over Justin Fields. I might take Blaine Gabbert as my quarterback over Justin Fields. He's abysmal. And on top of that, if that wasn't enough to make people stop questioning the NFC East, You got the Cowboys without their quarterback at 3-1, and the Giants, who have no business being 3-1, they're 3-1 too. You know, rookie head coach. Everyone was down on Daniel Jones. Barkley coming off an injury. Coming off a lot of injuries. Crazy. Speaking of New York, another surprise. The Jets. The Jets are 2-2. They oh, they're there. Now they wait. No, they're not. Oh, yes, they are. They beat the Browns. They had that comeback over the Browns. Yeah, I was reading the scores wrong. My apologies. They're going a little bit back and forth. And oddly enough, their first 4 games of the season are all against the AFC North. How weird is that? Got smoked by the Ravens. Had comeback against the Browns. Pulled it out 1-1. Got smoked by the Bengals. Bengals who have not been playing well this year. And then today, a little bit of a comeback. They outscored the Steelers 14-7 in the fourth quarter. And I'm watching the end of this game, and I'm thinking to myself, the Steelers were given 3.5 in this game. And I'm like, the Jets, they had this crazy win against the Browns, but other than that, they got smoked in their 2 other games, and the Ravens have been a little inconsistent. And the Bengals have been wholly inconsistent. So I'm thinking, Steelers aren't great. They're actually pretty abysmal, but the Jets have been so up and down. They got a good defense, but their quarterback situation's a mess, and there's no way Steelers will get back on track in this game, right? No. They were down 9-6 at halftime. I'm sorry, 10-6 at halftime. They scored, so what would that be? 13-10 after going into the fourth. So, looking okay. I'm thinking okay, just get another field goal, you'll cover, it'll be okay. We'll get a point in my pick'em league. Because of course gambling for some reason is not legal down here. I don't get that. Bible Belt states. And Kenny Pickett gets a touchdown early in the fourth quarter to put them up by 10. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, now you really cover. Under 10 minutes to go. Short yardage pass from Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's back. Corey Davis brings them within 3. And they have a long 65-yard, 3-minute drive with under 20 seconds left. Breece Hall punches it in, which they actually almost called like a fumble on the field. A fumble and then a recovery back down the line of scrimmage. So the Jets didn't lose the ball, but it was a very clear Breece Hall very clearly broke the plane of the goal line. Never should have been called a fumble. You lose the ball if you break the play, and that's it. Done. That's touchdown. But they corrected that, and the Jets are 2-2. That's a little bit surprising too. How many people would think the Jets wouldn't have 2 wins all year? Next game was the game I got to watch early. That, of course, was the Bills and the Ravens. Like I said, 2 teams had a ton of expectation going into the season. And the Bills got off to a rough start, much like the Eagles did. They were down 14-3 after the first quarter. Josh Allen had a pick early in the game. Dobbins wound up cashing that in from the 1. They got a field goal that cut it in half. Dobbins got another short yardage, so they're down a little bit out of the first. They got a couple field goals. And the Ravens got a couple field goals in the second quarter, so now Bills are down 23. They have go 76 yards in a minute and a half. Wound up scoring with under 10 seconds left in the half to get them 20-10. Old Josh Allen. Now, they wound up outscoring them in the second half, 13-0. They did have really 3 long drives. They get a field goal to get it within 7. And then the Ravens just looked absolutely abysmal in the second half. Absolutely abysmal. Josh Allen punched it in from 11 to cap an 80-yard, 9-play, 3.5-minute drive. And as time expired, they had another long drive, 77 yards, 12 plays, 4 minutes. Another long drive. and they kicked the field goal as time expired, and the Bills maintained first place, or tied for first place with the Dolphins. But the Dolphins are also significantly in a significantly worse position than when this week started, because they don't know if Tua's gonna play for much longer this season. So Bills are sitting at 3-1 in the division and probably feeling pretty good. And now they have a tiebreaker over the Ravens, who had a lot of hype going in this season. They're playing a little up and down, but generally fairly good. I don't think we need to go too much into, although I did think Houston would keep it close and cover, because there was getting 5 points, and Houston's played tough this year, and the Chargers have been up and down and such. So I did think Houston would cover, but they did not. The Chargers scraped them quite a bit. They were up 27-7 after half. Their only touchdown was just a 75-yarder by Pierce, so who knows that? I mean, that could have just been a poor play by, almost said San Diego, by the Chargers. Now, they did get 2 touchdowns to draw it a little close in the second half, and then they got a field goal, so they're within 3. But Eckler had a touchdown from Herbert with under 3 minutes to go, and that just sealed the deal. So, I mean, for the most part, the Chargers didn't really need too much help there. Now, this game, I actually missed the end of it. It was a little bit of a mess. I was watching this game for the most part. Carolina Panthers game. Of course, that's the local affiliate where I am. And it was a pretty sloppy game for both teams. Kyler Murray was very, very sloppy. They couldn't get the running game going at all. Carolina's defense actually was pretty stout. And Carolina, they couldn't really get their act together either. I mean, Baker had 2 picks and under 200 yards. Kyler, really wasn't much better. But they wound up pulling away. Now, as I was, fixing dinner and whatnot, they were tied. They were only tied 10-10. They only tied 10-10 after 3 quarters. And the Cardinals wound up getting a field goal and a short yardage rush by Kyler fairly early. They go up 10. So all of a sudden they're pulling away. And then on top of that, Hollywood Brown gets a 23-yarder. And, that didn't go through. So Hollywood Brown gets a 26-yard, 2-point conversion fails. So we go up 26-10, and Carolina tacks on a nothing touchdown at the end. But, I mean, it looks like it was a little bit more exciting looking at the final score, but this game really was pretty sloppy and kind of ugly. There wasn't a whole lot going on there. So there's still a couple games going in action right now. The Patriots and the Packers. Now I was looking at this. The Patriots are in a rough spot. Mac Jones is hurt. They've been a little rough going early on this season. But I looked at the line on this and saw plus 10. I'm like, I don't care how bad the Patriots are. Bill Belichick does not lose by 10 points. So, and they actually had a lead. They actually were going back and forth for a bit. They had a lead. They were close. They kept it tight when they were losing. They kept it tight with the Packers. And now they're tied at 20-24 with a minute left in the game. They're way deep in their own end, so we'll see if Aaron Rodgers has some magic to close this game out. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the Patriots are going to do. Their quarterback situation is a little rough because Hoya the Destroyer got hurt today too. But either they are tied the Packers, and I'm not super keen on the Packers this year. I don't necessarily want to doubt Rodgers, but at the same time, I think their proverbial window for like dominating people has passed. I mean, I think Rodgers is the type of quarterback to make good with whoever he's throwing to, but at the same time, I think missing Adams is feeling that a little bit. Now this other game, Denver and Vegas, took a while to get going, scoring wise, and Denver as a whole is taking a while to get scoring wise this season in general, but they've really picked it up after the first quarter. Denver was up 7-3 after the first quarter with a Sutton touchdown. And then Jacobs has a touchdown. Robertson has a fumble recovery touchdown, and then Judy gets a, just shorter red zone touchdown from Russ. So a little bit back and forth in the second quarter, and a field goal as time expires. Raiders are up 3 going into half. Nothing doing in the third quarter, just a Vegas field goal, 22-16. And then they really just, I guess they just turned on the afterburners in the fourth. They got another field goal to put them up by 9. Russ had a short yardage run to pull Denver within 2. And then Jacobs punches in the second touchdown, and they are now up by 9 with 2 minutes left. So scoring took a little while to get going here, but I mean, at least Denver's starting to open up the playbook a little bit. It was starting to get rough for a bit. So I guess I'll get a little dark. I guess I'll head back inside, watch the end of these games. Cheers, folks. Another Sunday. Cap off another Sunday Scaries. I'll finish watching these games. I feel like this Patriots game is probably going to overtime. Looks like Vegas is going to pull off this win against Denver. And then we've got a Super Bowl rematch from a couple of years ago between Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady on Sunday night. So I think that'll be good. I don't know what to expect here because Tampa Bay really hasn't got their offense going this year, and Kansas City has been a little inconsistent. I mean, they lost to us last week, and nobody should lose to the Colts right now. We're pretty much a bottom feeder in the league. We might even have the least. I saw a stat at the top of the Baltimore game that had Josh Allen's total touchdowns that he's produced, and then total touchdowns produced by every other team in the league. And the only team the Colts were ahead of, they're tied with a few teams, but the only team they were actually ahead of was Denver. And seeing what Denver did in the box score, I'm pretty sure the Colts are going to be last place. So I'm going to go head inside, wrap off these games, enjoy this hopefully scoring bonanza and down in Tampa. And I'll be down in Tampa next week. We'll do a live Sunday Scaries from probably not from Ray J, but probably not too far from Ray J. And then tomorrow night we got a NFC West matchup. Niners are off to a little bit of a slow start, and the Rams are actually off to somewhat of a decent start after that horrendous opener against Buffalo. So we'll see how that goes, and enjoy these games, and hope everybody enjoyed their Sunday of NFL action. Later, everyone. Cheers.